Hello, everybody. Welcome to CFS Abaton. My name is Anastasia. I am a certified mind-body coach sharing with you on this channel my experiences recovering from chronic illness and chronic symptoms, the pitfalls along the way, how I got through the last 6 years of my darkest time with these symptoms, how I recovered the first 80% through using a mind-body approach, and the practices I brought in to take me through the last 20% of my recovery until I found a full recovery, which I have here right now with you from Florence, Italy, where I am at the making of this video. By the time you see this video, I will be home in Greece on the island of Crete. So, why body emotions and why me? With my background, I just didn't think I needed more information about how I felt. My background outside of being a mind-body coach, helping others recover from symptoms of chronic illness, is over 20 years as an Iyengar yoga student and teacher. Over 20 years as a meditator, particularly Vipassana in the tradition of S.N. Goenka. I've done 10-day meditation retreats once or twice a year for, almost 20 years, and had a daily practice. And if that's not enough, I really got my act together in my life and participated in a plethora of 12-step recovery programs. So I learned myself, my patterns, how to take accountability, how to clean up my life, how to maintain and stay disciplined with meditation and yoga practices. I spent a lot of time helping others and also did a lot of practices in training in how to help others to understand where I stop and other people begin, so I can be of maximum service. So when it came to a mind-body approach and I was told that my symptoms are messengers coming from deep within the house trying to tell me something, well, shouldn't I already know that? I've already done the trauma work. I've come out of multiple, multiple effects that were holding up my life and my progress and happiness from trauma and addiction. And I had done EMDR therapy, regular therapy, the acupuncture, the meditation retreats. There's just so much, I knew so much. So I was well informed about myself. But what I learned, that there was still a particular language I didn't know that was coming from deep within the house. So the first most concerning symptom for me the past 6 years has been fatigue. Earlier in my life, it was IBS for years and years and years, like almost 2 decades. Then it turned into another almost 20 years of chronic insomnia. Then fatigue started to slip into that. And with the onset of the pandemic and the C word, I really just hit the skids and the fatigue became dominant, prevalent, and I lost the ability to do the work I loved. I wasn't able to do the extended silent retreats any longer. It was difficult to meditate the way I enjoy meditating. excuse me, and to practice yoga in a way that I really wanted. So, what was my fatigue trying to tell me? My fatigue was telling me that I wasn't taking actions that were fulfilling for my body. And my fatigue was also telling me that I was bored. What? What does that even mean? And when the boredom was first introduced to me, I was living in Florence, Italy, and I was working with a coach at the time and telling her that I was in an art history class, and I felt like I was about to nod out. And as someone who had recovered her sleep at that point, was still a person that didn't sleep easily during the day. And I think part of my background as someone who had chronic insomnia makes me predisposed to having a body that doesn't really nap during the day, and that's okay. So to say, it was really unusual that I felt that I could just fall asleep at any moment during this class. So I was on a session with my coach at the time, and I told her, I'm like, I just felt like I was going to fall asleep in this class. I went to the bathroom and I had to curl up in the corner on the floor, put my head against the wall, and just be there for at least 5 minutes to just let myself be in a collapsed state because I was in so much despair from the fatigue. And she said, "Oh, Anastasia, it sounds like boredom." Like, what? Like, what do you mean boredom? How can I be bored? I'm in Florence, Italy, and at the time I was in a bachelor program for graphic design. I decided to explore my creative side a little bit more and expand my artistic skills. I had moved from the Bay Area in California to Florence, Italy. I'm like, how can I be bored? Like, people dream of doing stuff like this. I was in a very safe, beautiful school, small class size, frescoes on the ceiling. It was just a gorgeous situation, and the classes were very interesting. But she pointed out to me that while the environment is interesting and it's very intellectually stimulating, that my body was bored. That to sit there listening to an art lecture, even though the information is interesting, is redundant for my body, and it started checking out. What my body was telling me is, I need something different right now. And I'm very happy for you, Anastasia, that you're doing this wonderful thing with your life, and that is good, but I just don't like redundant lecturing. And I found that that's true if I'm in conversations for too long. I found that that's true if I am on a screen or on the internet a little bit longer than I would like. I found that's true if I'm laying down for too long on the couch. If I don't feel rested after lying down a little bit and I start kind of going into that dark, spirally abyss, it just means that laying down isn't the appropriate action, and I may benefit from sitting up. I may benefit from walking into the other room for a glass of water. If it's a really difficult day, I may benefit from a cool compress or smelling some essential oils. I may benefit from putting on some music I enjoy. I may benefit from maybe a shorter conversation with a friend. If it's a day that I can't talk, I may benefit from a couple of text messages or voice messages to people. It's like there's no one right thing to do, but it's an indicator to me that my body is lacking a sense of fulfillment. And having chronic symptoms is deeply unfulfilling. Like stomach aches and fatigue are not fulfilling for me, and I haven't met anyone yet that is fulfilled by their symptoms, though I think it's possible to take a creative approach to them. I don't think it's unheard of that someone can be creative and find a sense of fulfillment in it, but so far that just hasn't been my experience. So that was a first example to me of body boredom, and what I was encouraged to do is to start listening to what my body is saying. So if I have other symptoms, they're also telling me other things. And I found through appropriate writing exercises, I can start to sense how my body responds if I've been treated unfairly. That could be receiving attitude from a barista here in Florence, Italy, who just is having a grumpy day. That could be unfair treatment from medical personnel or coaches or friends who maybe misread my symptoms and insist things are true for me that aren't. It could be anger from, let's say, unreasonable expectations that are being put on me, or maybe expectations to take care of someone and be responsible in a way that isn't appropriate for me. Maybe I'm not saying no where I need to say no. There's a variety of ways that my body can get frustrated, and that might manifest as a stomach ache. So as I learned what different symptoms could be telling me, I then learned appropriate actions to take. And the key word and the watchword here is appropriate, because I can be in a beautiful European city, just like I was in a beautiful city in California, and count on my blessings and know that it's super wonderful, and in fact, really enjoy where I am. But it might not be a good match for my body. Like, the body will often say it likes something, it doesn't like something, or it feels neutral about it. That's something I learned on my Vipassana retreats. There's yes, no, and neutral. So I can think something's a great idea for me, but what's a great idea for my body might be different. And I've learned a new language for that, and tools to apply to really learn what the body is saying. And through practice, through trying different things, some actions that worked, some actions that didn't, and inventorying them, I was able to see patterns about what was working, what wasn't, and then the symptoms started to reverse. So for me, it's not so much about retraining my brain, because my brain isn't broken. My brain, if it's reacting, it's usually reacting to a repressed emotion. And my body and brain work together to send me symptoms to alert me that something isn't right. So it's more, I need to retrain myself to speak the language my body is speaking to me. Then the symptoms start to reverse. I think it's only natural that growing up in different cultures and societies, we are given guidelines of how to get along. It's like, if I'm angry, yelling, screaming, hurting someone isn't appropriate. I can't throw a fit in the grocery store like I would have when I was a small kid. There's this structure that's put on me to live within, to get along in life, and really to survive. Especially with chronic illness, I need to think on my feet and make really good decisions for my life that are going to help me. But in the process of getting along, and sometimes perhaps if you're like me, spending a long time over functioning, which is really common for women, a lot of caretaking, putting the needs of others first, sometimes not realizing that we're rationalizing putting our needs down. Our body will start to say, no, I don't like this. No, I don't like this. And it'll start to scream in the form of a symptom. And for me, when 12-step recovery and yoga and meditation and exercising and socializing and doing art was not enough to relieve the symptoms, I needed to have an open mind to maybe approach the symptoms in a new way and decode them. And I have found that. I have a lot of writing exercises. I use key questions I ask myself for the times I had symptoms. And sometimes when I still don't feel good for doing that, I've learned other processing tools to get the emotions out through all of the different trainings I've done. And I've incorporated those with my yoga and meditation practices to give me all the tools I need to first stop, pay attention to a symptom, learn how to be present in my body, create a sense of safety, then ask myself the key questions that each symptom might have a say in and start to go beneath the surface of the symptom in this new way. So my symptoms mostly went away, and while I put some of the other practices to the side, I found what was missing for me was a permission to bring them back in. So I started engaging my yoga practice and my meditation practice again in a new, fresh way. I incorporated a new 12-step program, which was really helpful for me. And that last 20%, this just new life has been breathed into me. But I couldn't do it without the mind-body medicine approach of Dr. John Sarno, Nicole Sachs, his daughter Christina Sarno, Mickle Therapy, The Mind Body Reconnects by Claire Caldwell. So I could also have that other language to understand from deep within the house. It's like being fluent in 4 different languages. That's fantastic, but it's still not going to teach me to speak that 5th language. I can speak the first 4 languages with excellence, be able to teach those 4 languages to others with great proficiency, care, and aptitude. But if I don't have that 5th language, I can't learn it no matter how well I speak the first 4. So that is basically what was happening for me. I hope to break it down for you a little bit more clearly and in more bite-sized pieces in the videos. And if you have any questions or topics you would like me to cover, you can leave it in the comments. And if you have had a similar experience or a different experience, totally valid. Feel free to share as you're comfortable in the comments as well. I don't believe that there's one way to recovery. And for me, something that was keeping me sick is this idea that someone else's way was the right way for me. That's what got me into CFS and chronic symptoms in the first place as that small girl with stomach aches. believing I needed to align with the values of the world around me and smushing down the deeper messages that were coming from inside the house. That's why I developed into that depression and anxiety as a teenager, which developed into 20 years chronic insomnia, which developed into more chronic fatigue, which eventually made me susceptible to getting smashed out when the big C hit. So, to then try to find wellness in a community that means well, but is often giving me the message that, no, this way is the right way. No, this way is the right way. That was a big holdup for me. So I believe wholeheartedly my first commitment is to allow people their own way and support them in finding tools that work. And if some of what I have found can be helpful, I'm happy to share that and tailor it to the person in front of me, because everyone learns and heals differently. So again, leave your comments if you have healed differently. I want to hear about it. If you'd like to set up a curiosity call with me to go in a little more detail about my work, some of these writing exercises, and to speak more personally about the messages from deep inside the house and learning that fifth dialect, or whatever it might mean for you to learn differently in a new way, you can book a curiosity call with me, and that is linked in my bio and also in the description of this video through my website. So ciao from Florence, Italy, and I will see you all soon from the island of Crete in Greece.